The power of saving. A practical guide to transforming your relationship with money. Part 1. Understanding saving. Chapter 1. What saving really is. When people hear the word saving, they often think it simply means putting money aside. However, saving is much more than that. Saving is the conscious decision to set aside a portion of the resources you have today so you can use them in the future. In other words, saving means thinking beyond the present moment. Most people receive money in different ways: a salary, income from a business, freelance work, or sometimes gifts. That money is usually used to cover needs such as food, transportation, housing, education, and entertainment. The problem appears when all the money that comes in immediately goes out. When this happens, a person lives constantly depending on the next paycheck. It doesn't matter how much they earn; if they spend everything, they start from zero every month. Saving breaks that cycle. Saving means creating a small gap between what you earn and what you spend. That difference, even if it seems small, can become a solid foundation for financial stability over time. Many people believe that saving is only possible when someone earns a lot of money. This idea is one of the most harmful misconceptions in financial education. The truth is that saving does not depend only on the size of your income, but on your behavior toward money. There are people with modest incomes who manage to save consistently. At the same time, there are people with very high salaries who live with debt and financial stress. The difference is not how much money they receive, but how they manage it. Saving does not mean stopping yourself from living or giving up everything you enjoy. It does not mean living in fear of spending money. The real meaning of saving is learning how to use money wisely. It is about finding a balance between enjoying the present and protecting the future. A person who saves understands that every financial decision has consequences. Buying something today might mean not having that money tomorrow for something more important. This does not mean you can never buy anything. It means every expense should have a clear purpose. Saving is also connected to the concept of priorities. When someone decides to save, they are saying that certain future goals are more important than some immediate expenses. For example, someone may decide to save for travel, education, buying a home, or simply for peace of mind during emergencies. Every small amount saved is like a seed. At first it may seem insignificant, but over time it can grow into something much bigger. The habit of saving also changes the way a person sees money. Instead of thinking about money only as something to spend, they begin to see it as a tool that can work in their favor. This change in mindset is one of the most important steps toward a more stable financial life. Chapter 2. The history of saving in human life. Although today we talk about saving in financial terms, the idea of setting aside resources for the future has existed since the earliest moments of human history. Long before money existed, people were already practicing a basic form of saving. Ancient communities that depended on agriculture clearly understood the importance of reserving part of their harvest. If they consumed all their food immediately after the harvest, they would not have enough resources during the winter or during times of scarcity. For this reason, they stored grains, dried foods, and other supplies to use when necessary. This behavior was essential for survival. Nature also provides clear examples of this principle. Many animals store food for the future. Squirrels store nuts, some birds hide seeds, and other animals prepare shelters for the most difficult months. These behaviors reflect a very simple but powerful idea: preparing today for tomorrow. Over time, societies began using money instead of directly exchanging goods and services. This allowed the concept of saving to evolve. Instead of storing food or tools, people began to store money. Money had an important advantage: it could be used for many different purposes. It could be used to buy food, pay for services, invest in businesses, or handle emergencies. As economies developed, institutions that made saving easier also appeared, such as banks. These institutions provided a safe place where people could store their money and, in some cases, receive a small reward in the form of interest. However, beyond modern tools, the fundamental principle of saving remains the same as it was thousands of years ago, setting aside part of today's resources to protect the future. Saving is a strategy that has accompanied humanity for generations because it responds to a basic human need: security. No one can fully predict what will happen tomorrow. Unexpected expenses, job changes, or difficult situations can arise at any time. Saving acts as preparation for that uncertainty. Chapter 3. Why saving is important. Saving is important for many reasons, and some of them go beyond money. One of the most important benefits of saving is security. When someone has money saved, they have protection against unexpected situations. A health problem, a home repair, or a temporary loss of income can be handled more calmly when there is money available. Without savings, any unexpected expense can turn into a crisis. Another reason saving is important is freedom. Many people feel trapped in certain jobs or situations simply because they do not have enough financial resources to make different choices. Savings create options. A person with savings can allow themselves to change jobs, start a project, or invest in their education. They can also make decisions with greater calm and less pressure. Saving also reduces stress. Financial problems are one of the main causes of worry for many people. Living constantly at the limit, without any margin for unexpected expenses, creates anxiety and tension. When someone has even a small financial cushion, their sense of peace increases. Even a modest amount can make a big difference in the way a person faces everyday life. Saving also helps people achieve important goals. Many things people want require planning and resources. Traveling, studying, buying a house, or starting a business are goals that usually cannot be achieved immediately. Saving allows people to build these projects step by step. Each time a small amount of money is saved, a person moves a little closer to those goals. Chapter 4. The relationship between income, expenses, and saving. To understand saving, it is essential to understand how money flows through a person's life. Money usually follows a simple path. First, income is received. Then, expenses are made. The way this money is distributed determines whether someone is able to save or not. Many people follow this pattern. Income, expenses, if anything is left, savings. The problem with this method is that there is almost never anything left. There is always a new expense or purchase that seems necessary. For this reason, a more effective strategy is to change the order. Income, savings, expenses. This means setting aside part of the money from the beginning, before starting to spend it. In this way, saving becomes a priority instead of something that depends on what is left at the end of the month. This change may seem small, but it has a huge impact over time. When someone adopts this habit, saving becomes a natural part of their financial life. Chapter 5. The impact of saving on daily life. Saving does not only affect the future. It also has important effects on everyday life. A person who saves begins to pay more attention to their financial decisions. They start asking themselves whether they really need certain things or whether they are simply buying them out of impulse. They also begin to notice small expenses that previously went unnoticed. Often, financial problems do not come from a single large purchase, but from many small purchases repeated every day. A daily coffee, a subscription that is rarely used, impulse purchases, or unnecessary expenses can accumulate over time. The habit of saving helps identify these patterns. Over time, a person learns to use money in a more conscious way. This does not mean eliminating every type of expense. It means choosing more carefully. Money begins to go toward what truly matters, instead of disappearing in purchases that provide little real value. As savings grow, the sense of control over one's financial life also grows. A person stops feeling controlled by money and begins using it as a tool. That is one of the most powerful changes that can happen when someone develops the habit of saving. Part 2. The psychology of money and the obstacles to saving. In the first part, we learned what saving is and why it is so important for financial stability and peace of mind. However, understanding saving does not always mean applying it. Many people know that they should save, but they still struggle to do it. The reason for this is not purely economic. In reality, much of the challenge is connected to the psychology of money. Financial decisions are not always made in a completely rational way. They are often influenced by emotions, habits, social expectations, and outside pressures. In this part of the book, we will explore why many people have difficulty saving and how it is possible to change that situation. Chapter 6. The Consumption Mindset. We live in a society that constantly encourages people to consume. Every day we are exposed to advertising through social media, television, stores, apps, and public spaces. These messages usually have one clear goal: to convince people to buy something. Advertisements rarely talk about saving or moderation. Instead, they promote ideas such as, "Buy now. Take advantage of this deal. Don't miss out. You deserve it. Live in the moment." These messages appeal directly to emotions. The problem is not buying things. Purchasing goods and services is a normal part of life. The problem appears when buying decisions are made without thinking carefully. Many purchases are not made because something is truly necessary, but because it creates a temporary emotional reaction. For example, buying something because it is trendy. Buying something to feel better. Buying something to impress other people. Buying something because it seems like a rare opportunity. These decisions are usually impulsive. Impulsive spending creates a dangerous pattern. Money is used quickly to satisfy temporary desires without considering long-term consequences. Over time, this habit can completely prevent saving. To develop a saving mindset, it is necessary to begin questioning these impulses. Every time the desire to buy something appears, it can be helpful to ask a few simple questions. Do I really need this? Would I buy it if it were not on sale? Does this expense bring me closer to my goals or move me further away from them? These questions help turn impulsive spending into conscious decision-making. Chapter 7. The most common excuses for not saving. Many people believe they cannot save, but when their situation is examined more closely, what often appears are excuses that repeat themselves again and again. One of the most common is, "I don't earn enough money to save." While it is true that lower income can make saving more difficult, this phrase is often used as a justification for not trying. Saving does not have to begin with large amounts. Even small amounts can create an important habit. Saving does not mean setting aside large sums immediately. It means developing the discipline to reserve something, no matter how small. Another very common excuse is, "I'll start saving next month." This thought may seem reasonable, but it often repeats itself again and again. There is always a new expense or a situation that seems more urgent. Because of this, the beginning of saving keeps getting postponed. The best way to overcome this excuse is to start immediately, even if the amount is very small. Another common statement is, "I prefer to enjoy the present." This argument presents a false choice between enjoying life and saving money. Saving does not mean giving up enjoyment. It means finding balance. It is possible to enjoy the present while also setting aside money for the future. In fact, many people who do not save eventually face financial problems that prevent them from enjoying both the present and the future. Another excuse people often use is, "When I earn more money, I'll start saving." The problem with this idea is that financial behavior often remains the same even when income increases. Many people who receive raises simply increase their spending. This phenomenon is known as lifestyle inflation. When income grows, expenses grow as well, and saving still does not happen. That is why it is important to develop the habit of saving regardless of income level. Chapter 8. How financial habits are formed. Financial habits work in a similar way to other habits in life. They are formed through small actions repeated many times. A person does not become careless with money because of one impulsive purchase. In the same way, someone does not become financially disciplined with a single act of saving. What truly matters is repetition. Every financial decision creates a small pattern of behavior. If someone spends money without thinking again and again, that behavior eventually becomes automatic. In the same way, if someone regularly decides to save, even small amounts, they are creating a new pattern. Over time, that pattern becomes a habit. Habits have an important characteristic: they reduce the mental effort needed to make decisions. When someone already has the habit of saving, they do not need to think about it every time. They simply do it. For this reason, the main goal is not to save a large amount once, but to build a consistent habit. Consistency is much more powerful than occasional effort. Chapter 9. The most common financial mistakes. Many people face financial problems not only because of low income, but also because of common mistakes in the way they manage their money. One of the most frequent mistakes is not having a budget. Without a budget, it is very difficult to know exactly how much money comes in and how much is being spent. This causes many people to be surprised at the end of the month when they realize their money has disappeared without knowing exactly where it went. Another important mistake is spending more than you earn. When this happens, people often rely on loans, credit cards, or other forms of debt. Debt can become a heavy burden if it is not managed carefully. Interest causes the amount owed to grow over time, which can make financial problems even worse. Another common mistake is ignoring debt. Some people avoid checking their account statements or calculating how much they actually owe. This attitude can make the problem worse. Instead of disappearing, debts usually grow. Another mistake is not having financial goals. When money does not have a clear purpose, it becomes much easier to spend it without thinking. Goals help direct money toward specific objectives. They can be small goals, such as saving for a trip, or large goals, such as buying a home. What matters most is having a direction. Chapter 10. Changing your mindset toward saving. Financial transformation begins with a change in mindset. Saving is not only a technique or a method for organizing money. It is primarily a way of thinking. A person who develops a saving mindset begins to see money differently. Instead of constantly asking, "What can I buy with this?" they begin asking, "How can I use this money in the best possible way?" This shift in perspective may seem small, but it has a powerful impact. It is also important to understand that saving is not about perfection. There will be times when unexpected expenses appear or when some financial decisions are not the best ones. That is normal. What truly matters is maintaining the overall direction. Every day offers a new opportunity to make more conscious financial decisions. Saving is not a punishment or a limitation. It is a tool that allows people to build a more stable, calmer life with greater opportunities. In the next parts of this book, we will explore practical methods for applying saving in everyday life, even when income is limited. Because real change does not happen only by understanding saving, but by putting it into practice consistently. Part 3. How to start saving from zero. Understanding saving and changing your mindset about money are important steps, but real change begins when you start taking action. Many people believe that starting to save is complicated or requires advanced financial knowledge. In reality, beginning to save can be much simpler than it seems. What matters most is not the amount you start with, but the decision to begin. In this part of the book, you will learn how to analyze your financial situation, how to create a simple system to organize your money, and how to start saving even if you feel that you currently have no room to do so. Chapter 11. Analyzing your financial situation. Before you begin saving, it is important to clearly understand how your money moves. Many people do not know exactly how much money comes into their lives each month or how much they actually spend. This happens because expenses are spread across many small daily decisions that often go unnoticed. The first step to improving any financial situation is looking at it honestly. This means answering 3 simple questions. How much money do I receive each month? What do I spend that money on? How much money is left at the end of the month? It may sound simple, but many people have never taken the time to analyze these questions carefully. To do this, it is helpful to perform a small exercise. For 1 month, record all of your income and all of your expenses. It does not matter if the expense is large or small. Even the smallest purchases should be written down. This can be done in a notebook, a spreadsheet, or a financial tracking app. After a few weeks, you will begin to notice patterns. You may discover that you spend more than you realized in certain areas, such as eating out, transportation, or impulse purchases. The goal of this exercise is not to create guilt or regret. Its purpose is to create clarity. When you clearly understand how you use your money, you can make much smarter decisions. Chapter 12. Creating a simple budget. A budget is simply a plan for your money. Many people think creating a budget is complicated or requires difficult calculations. In reality, a budget can be very simple. The basic idea is to divide your money into different categories so you can cover your needs while also reserving a portion for saving. A basic budget usually includes 3 types of expenses. 1. Essential expenses. These are the costs that are necessary for daily living, such as housing, food, transportation, utilities, education, health care. These expenses take priority because they are related to basic needs. 2. Personal expenses. These expenses relate to lifestyle and entertainment, such as going out, personal shopping, subscriptions, recreational activities. These expenses are not necessarily bad, but they should remain under control. 3. Savings. Savings should be treated as an important category in your budget. Instead of waiting to see if money is left at the end of the month, it is better to reserve a portion from the beginning. Many people use a simple rule to organize their money. One common version divides income approximately like this: 50% for needs, 30% for personal spending, 20% for savings. This model is not perfect for everyone, but it works well as a starting point. Each person can adjust their budget according to their own situation. The important thing is that saving has a place in the plan. Chapter 13. Your first savings fund. When someone begins saving, it is helpful to start with a simple goal: building a small safety fund. This fund does not need to be large at the beginning. What matters is simply getting started. Even saving a small amount each week can make a meaningful difference over time. For example, setting aside a small amount consistently for several months can create a financial cushion that did not exist before. This initial savings fund serves several purposes. First, it helps handle unexpected expenses. If a repair, medical issue, or other surprise cost appears, the fund can be used instead of relying on debt. Second, a savings fund strengthens personal confidence. Each time someone sees their savings grow, even slowly, they begin to feel more in control of their financial situation. This feeling of control is extremely valuable. Over time, that small fund can grow and eventually become the foundation for larger financial goals. Chapter 14. Simple rules to control spending. One reason many people struggle to save is that they make purchasing decisions too quickly. Impulse purchases are one of the biggest enemies of saving. To avoid this problem, it is helpful to apply a few simple rules before spending money. One of the most effective rules is waiting before buying. When the desire to buy something that is not urgent appears, it is helpful to wait before making the decision. This waiting period can be a day, 2 days, or even a week. Often, the desire to buy disappears after some time passes. Another helpful rule is asking whether the item truly adds value. Before buying something, ask yourself questions such as: will I use this often? Will it improve something in my life? Am I buying this because I need it or because I want it right now? These questions help create more thoughtful decisions. It is also helpful to compare prices and explore different options before making purchases. Many times, spending a few minutes researching can save a considerable amount of money. The goal is not to eliminate all spending, but to make sure each expense has a purpose. Chapter 15. Simple Systems for Saving. There are many ways to organize saving, and each person can choose the method that best fits their lifestyle. One of the simplest methods is separating money for savings immediately after receiving income. This can be done by transferring the money to a savings account or placing it in a specific location reserved only for that purpose. Another helpful strategy is automating savings. Some people schedule automatic transfers into their savings account each time they receive their paycheck. In this way, saving happens without needing to make a decision every month. Another very simple method is saving small amounts regularly. For example, some people choose to save all the coins they receive as change or round up their purchases and save the difference. Although these amounts may seem small, they can accumulate over time. What matters most is not the specific method but consistency. Saving works like a plant, it needs time and care to grow. Every small action adds up. Every conscious decision strengthens the habit. And every month of discipline brings you closer to financial stability. Part 4. Practical Saving Strategies. In the previous parts, we learned what saving is, why it is important, and how to begin organizing our finances. Now we arrive at a very important step: applying saving in everyday life. Many people believe that saving requires huge changes or extreme sacrifices. In reality, much of saving is built through small daily decisions. Every expense we make represents a choice. When we learn to make those choices more consciously, saving begins to appear naturally. In this part, we will explore practical strategies that anyone can apply to improve their ability to save. Chapter 16. The Power of Small Expenses. One of the biggest obstacles to saving is the idea that only large expenses affect personal finances. It is true that large purchases have an important impact, but many times the real problem comes from small expenses that repeat constantly. For example, buying coffee every day, ordering food frequently, subscriptions that are rarely used, small impulse purchases, daily expenses that seem insignificant. Each of these expenses may appear small on its own. However, when they repeat week after week or month after month, they can represent a considerable amount of money. Imagine a small daily purchase that seems harmless. By the end of 1 week, that expense has already multiplied several times. After a month, the total amount can be surprising. This does not mean that all of these purchases must be eliminated completely. The important thing is being aware of them. When someone identifies these patterns, they can decide which expenses truly add value to their life and which ones simply exist because of habit. Often, reducing only a few of these small expenses can free up enough money to begin saving without significantly affecting quality of life. Chapter 17. How to Save in Everyday Life. Saving is not only about putting money into an account. It also involves using available resources more efficiently. There are many opportunities to save in daily life that often go unnoticed. Food. Food is one of the most important expenses in any household. One effective way to save in this area is planning your purchases. When people go to the grocery store without a clear list, it becomes much easier to buy unnecessary items. Planning meals for the week and purchasing only the necessary ingredients can significantly reduce spending. Another helpful strategy is avoiding food waste. Many times people buy products that end up forgotten in the refrigerator or spoil before they are used. Using food more efficiently helps both saving money and reducing waste. Transportation. Transportation can also represent a significant expense for many people. Small changes in travel habits can create savings over time. For example, planning trips more efficiently, sharing transportation when possible, using more affordable options when available. It may not always be possible to completely change the transportation system someone uses, but even small improvements can make a difference. Entertainment. Entertainment is an important part of life. People need time to relax, enjoy themselves, and participate in activities they like. However, entertainment can also become a source of excessive spending if it is not controlled. One way to maintain balance is by finding activities that do not require large expenses. For example, outdoor activities, free cultural events, gatherings with friends at home, reading or creative hobbies. These options allow people to enjoy their free time without placing too much pressure on their budget. Chapter 18. How to save at home. The home is another place where many opportunities for saving exist. Often, small changes in how resources are used can significantly reduce monthly expenses. Utilities. Utilities such as electricity, water, and gas are part of the normal expenses of any household. However, these resources are sometimes used inefficiently. Some simple actions can help reduce consumption. Turning off lights when they are not needed. Using appliances efficiently. Avoiding leaving devices plugged in unnecessarily. Being mindful of water use. Even though each individual action may seem small, the combination of these decisions can create noticeable savings over time. Home organization. Keeping the home organized can also contribute to saving money. When people do not clearly know what they already have at home, they often end up buying things they already own. This happens with food, cleaning products, clothing, and many other items. Having a simple system of organization helps avoid duplicate purchases and allows people to make better use of what they already have. Chapter 19. Popular personal saving methods. Over time, many people have developed different methods to make saving easier. These methods are not strict rules. They are tools that can be adapted to different situations. The envelope method. This method involves dividing money into different envelopes or categories. Each envelope represents a type of expense, such as food, transportation, entertainment, savings. When the money in an envelope runs out, it means no more spending should occur in that category during that period. This system helps people clearly visualize how their money is being distributed. Saving by percentages. Another strategy is to set aside a fixed percentage of income for savings. For example, some people choose to save 10%, 15%, or 20% of what they earn. The important part is that this percentage is reserved immediately after receiving income. Microsavings. Microsavings involve setting aside small amounts of money consistently. For example, saving coins, rounding up purchases and saving the difference, saving small amounts each day or week. Although these amounts may appear small, they can accumulate into a meaningful sum over time. Chapter 20. Making your money last through the month. A common challenge for many people is that their money runs out before the month ends. This usually happens when spending is concentrated in the first few days, leaving little room for the rest of the month. One effective way to avoid this problem is distributing money more evenly. For example, some people divide their budget weekly. Instead of spending freely throughout the entire month, they assign a specific amount for each week. This helps maintain better control of money and reduces the risk of running out too early. Another useful strategy is keeping a small reserve within the monthly budget. This reserve can be used for unexpected expenses or special situations. When money is organized clearly, maintaining control becomes much easier. Saving stops feeling like a difficult task and becomes a natural result of good planning. Part 5. Saving for the future. Saving is not only about solving present financial problems. It is also a powerful tool for building a better future. When people begin saving consistently, they are not only accumulating money. They are creating possibilities. Saving opens doors that would otherwise remain closed. It allows individuals to prepare for unexpected situations, invest in personal goals, and make decisions with greater freedom. In this part of the book, we will explore how saving connects to long-term planning and how it can support some of the most important goals in life. Chapter 21. The Emergency Fund. One of the most important financial goals anyone can have is creating an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Unexpected situations can appear at any moment, such as medical expenses, car repairs, loss of employment, home repairs, family emergencies. When these events occur and a person has no savings, they are often forced to rely on debt. Debt can quickly create additional financial pressure, especially when interest begins to accumulate. An emergency fund acts as a financial safety net. It is money reserved specifically for unexpected situations. It is not meant for vacations, shopping, or entertainment. The goal of this fund is to protect financial stability when life becomes uncertain. Many financial experts recommend building an emergency fund that can cover several months of essential expenses. However, reaching that level takes time. The most important step is simply starting. Even a small emergency fund can reduce stress and provide valuable protection when unexpected costs appear. Chapter 22. Saving for personal goals. Saving is not only about protection. It is also about creating opportunities. Every person has dreams, plans, and goals they hope to achieve in the future. These goals may include traveling, starting a business, continuing education, buying a home, purchasing important equipment, supporting family members. Without savings, many of these goals remain difficult to achieve. Saving allows people to prepare gradually for these opportunities. Instead of relying entirely on loans or financial assistance, individuals can build their own resources over time. One helpful strategy is to create separate savings categories for different goals. For example, a travel fund, an education fund, a home fund, a personal project fund. By dividing savings according to specific objectives, progress becomes easier to track and motivation becomes stronger. Each contribution moves the goal a little closer to reality. Chapter 23. The Importance of Long-Term Thinking. One of the greatest benefits of saving is that it encourages people to think beyond the present moment. Many financial problems appear because decisions are made only with short-term thinking. Short-term thinking focuses on immediate satisfaction. Long-term thinking focuses on future stability and growth. When people develop a long-term perspective, they begin asking different questions, such as, how will this decision affect me in the future? Is this expense truly worth it? What opportunities might I create if I save this money instead? These questions encourage wiser financial decisions. Long-term thinking does not mean ignoring the present. Instead, it means finding a balance between enjoying life today and preparing for tomorrow. This balance allows people to live with greater security and confidence. Chapter 24. Saving and Personal Freedom. Money alone does not guarantee happiness. However, financial stability can create something extremely valuable: freedom. When people have savings, they gain the ability to make decisions without constant financial pressure. For example, savings can allow someone to leave an unhealthy job situation, Take time to learn new skills. Move to a new place. Start a new project or business. Support family members during difficult moments. Without savings, many people feel trapped in situations simply because they cannot afford change. Savings provide options. They reduce dependence on uncertain circumstances and increase personal control over life decisions. This freedom is one of the most powerful benefits of financial discipline. Chapter 25. Patience and Consistency. One of the most important lessons about saving is that it requires patience. In a world where many things happen instantly, saving can feel slow. Money usually does not grow overnight. It grows gradually through consistent effort. However, this slow growth should not be underestimated. Small contributions made regularly can accumulate into significant resources over time. The key to success is consistency. Saving a small amount every week or every month can produce results that many people underestimate. Even when progress feels slow, every contribution matters. Each deposit represents a decision to build a stronger financial future. Over time, these decisions create stability, opportunity, and confidence. Saving is not a race. It is a long-term journey that rewards discipline, patience, and persistence. Part 6. Building a lifelong saving habit. Saving is not a temporary action. It is a habit that can accompany a person throughout life. Many people begin saving with enthusiasm but eventually abandon the practice. This usually happens when saving feels like a sacrifice instead of a natural part of daily life. The goal is not only to save for a short period of time but to build a financial habit that remains strong over many years. In this final part of the book, we will explore how to maintain the discipline of saving, how to stay motivated, and how saving can become an essential part of a balanced and stable life. Chapter 26. Turning saving into a habit. Habits are formed through repetition. Just like exercising regularly strengthens the body, saving regularly strengthens financial discipline. When someone saves once, it is simply an action. When someone saves repeatedly, it becomes a habit. The easiest way to create this habit is by making saving automatic whenever possible. For example, saving can occur immediately after receiving income. Instead of waiting until the end of the month to see if money is left over, a portion can be separated at the beginning. This approach treats saving as a priority rather than an afterthought. Over time, this routine becomes natural. Eventually, saving no longer feels like a difficult decision. It becomes part of a normal financial routine. Chapter 27. Staying motivated. One of the biggest challenges in saving is maintaining motivation. Saving often requires discipline, and results may not always appear immediately. That is why it is helpful to connect saving with clear personal goals. When people know exactly why they are saving, the process becomes more meaningful. Goals provide direction. For example, someone might save in order to achieve financial security, support their family, invest in education, start a business, prepare for retirement, build a more stable future. Every time money is saved, it becomes a step toward these goals. Another helpful strategy is tracking progress. Watching savings grow over time can create a strong sense of accomplishment. Even small increases can provide encouragement and motivation to continue. Celebrating milestones along the way can also make the journey more rewarding. Chapter 28. Teaching saving to future generations. Saving is not only a personal skill. It is also an important lesson that can be shared with others. Families play a key role in teaching financial habits. Children and young people often learn their attitudes toward money by observing the behavior of adults around them. When saving is discussed openly and practiced regularly, younger generations can learn the value of financial responsibility. Some simple ways to teach saving include encouraging children to set aside part of their allowance, Explaining how money is earned and used. Helping them set small financial goals. Showing them how patience leads to rewards. These lessons can have a lasting impact. When young people develop healthy financial habits early in life, they are better prepared to manage money responsibly as adults. Chapter 29. Learning from mistakes. No financial journey is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes with money at some point. Some people overspend. Others make purchases they later regret. Unexpected situations can also disrupt financial plans. These experiences are normal. What matters most is not avoiding every mistake, but learning from them. Each financial mistake can provide valuable insight. It can reveal spending habits, emotional triggers, or areas where financial planning can improve. Instead of feeling discouraged, it is helpful to treat mistakes as opportunities for growth. With each lesson learned, financial decision-making becomes stronger. Chapter 30. A life of financial balance. Saving is not about deprivation. It is not about removing all enjoyment from life or constantly worrying about money. True financial well-being comes from balance. This balance includes meeting present needs, enjoying life responsibly, preparing for the future, protecting against unexpected situations. Saving helps create that balance. It provides stability during uncertain times and flexibility when opportunities appear. Over time, saving transforms from a simple financial practice into a powerful tool for building a more secure and peaceful life. The journey of saving begins with a single decision. A small step. A small amount set aside. But when that step is repeated again and again, it creates something powerful, a future built on stability, discipline, and opportunity. Saving is not only about money. It is about building a life with greater confidence, greater freedom, and greater possibilities. The last reflection on the power of saving. Throughout this book, we have explored one simple but powerful idea: saving can transform the way people experience their financial lives. Saving is not reserved only for those who earn large amounts of money. It is a habit that anyone can begin to develop, regardless of their starting point. At the beginning of this journey, saving may seem difficult. It may feel like a sacrifice or a limitation. However, with time and practice, saving begins to feel different. It becomes a form of protection, a source of confidence, and a path toward greater freedom. Every small amount that is saved represents more than money. It represents discipline, patience, and a commitment to building a better future. The true power of saving is not found in a single large deposit. It is found in the consistent decisions made day after day. Each conscious decision to spend wisely or to set aside a portion of income strengthens financial stability. Over time, these decisions accumulate and create meaningful change. Saving also teaches valuable life lessons. It teaches patience in a world that often expects immediate results. It teaches responsibility in managing resources. It teaches the importance of planning and thinking about the future. Most importantly, saving teaches that progress is possible even through small steps. A small beginning can grow into something powerful when it is supported by persistence. No matter where someone begins their financial journey, the most important step is simply starting. Start with a small amount. Start with a simple plan. Start with the intention of improving your relationship with money. Over time, those small actions will create habits. Those habits will create stability. And that stability will create opportunities. Saving is not just a financial strategy. It is a way of building a life with greater security, greater possibilities, and greater peace of mind. The journey begins today, with a single decision: to value the future as much as the present. And that decision has the power to change everything.